Alright, this is my first foray into Kevin Zucker's OSG's Library of Napoleonic Battles. I've got Napoleon's Last Gamble up. Uh, I I ordered some sample games they had before, single battles, but I've never actually pulled it out. Uh, and then I was able to, I make Vassal mods actually for decision games at times, and they asked me probably about a year ago to make a Vassal mod for their second edition, I believe, Napoleon's Last Battles. So I've got that, and initially I was looking at the SPI original version too. Maybe make a Vassal mod for that. I've partway through Quatre Bras for that. I just like the old look of the SPY SPI maps and counters just because it brings back memories of when I was a teenager and SPI and Avalon Hill were the two titans. Um, so I was wrestling with, wanted to get into these, and then I was poking around, and I did realize that Kevin Zucker did go on to create OSG, and amongst other things, I guess they're on their way to doing 84 battles using rules that are similar to the original SPI, and then what evolved into the decision games. And after kind of blowing back and forth in my mind, I said, maybe I should go with the latest. I can always go back to the SPI version or the decision game versions if I want to do that, but learning the OSG Library of Napoleonic Battles in my mind opens up a whole set of battles in Napoleonics. It's very well developed and acclaimed series. So learning this series I think would be a good investment of my time for getting into Napoleonics. This is a higher level. Actually, I do have a number of John Tiller Napoleonics. It's a more tactical level, which I'd also dabbled with and love to get into. I've been doing recordings of John Tiller games. Right now I'm doing Panzer campaigns, but definitely get into his series on Napoleonics, Civil War, Panzer battles, just so much there. But again, back to OSG. This seems to be a widely acclaimed series, and then I caught OSG on a sale, so I was able to purchase what they've now renamed Napoleon's Last Gamble, the entire Waterloo, with the potential to play separate scenarios. I also picked up their Russian campaign, Series 2. So I think that's a good start. Between the two, I've got 4, 5, 9 battles. And then I've still got 2 free ones. I'd have to look up which ones, are not free ones, but the intro ones he was selling for $20, $25 in the past. So between all of that, I think I've got solid coverage to start learning this system. Whether I keep going with it and picking up the rest will be interesting. But for this video, what I'm doing is this is my first attempt at learning the game. I thought I'd post it and let everybody else, see it, and you can give me commentary, how to learn it, etc. So I've just picked the small Quatre Bras battle. I'm using the Vassal mod. I'm a big fan of Vassal. And I've done the initial setup. Some of the rules I'm not using, obviously, are hidden pieces. Not doing that. I would imagine going down the road I could simulate that. Vassal does have the ability to have players and flip them and not look at them and take time between the previous, turns to try and forget them. But for now, I'm not going to play with the hidden units. I'm also not going to play with the, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, the vedettes, the smaller cavalry detachments. I think it's 500, used for screening the main army, doing recon. But again, as I move forward in the series, I'll probably do that. My goal here with this game is to learn the basic system, and you'll be along for the ride if you're watching. So I'm in my split screen here. I like to have the rules and the charts up on one side and the game on the other, so I can see what's going on. And so here's the initial setup, classic setup, all the way back to SPI's original version of this, Napoleon's last battles. And we have the French approaching Quatre Bras. Over here, I think they're also taking on the Prussians. I removed them from the map, but this is the other side of it. I think it's called Ligny. But I'm going to focus on Quatre Bras because it seems small enough, bite-sized enough to try and go through the rules here. So we see the French coming up in column. Ney is in charge, it looks like, of this wing. If you're playing the full campaign, there's other units back here, but again, I've removed those. We see, looks like the British here. We have, of course, Prince William and Wellington sitting in Quatre Bras. And rushing forward are some reinforcements from the Low Countries and the British here to attempt to delay the French, I believe. So, the first thing out of the box is where are the victory points on the game, and do you see by hiding it that this is worth 5 victory points, and Quatre Bras is worth 10, but there is a special rule in the scenario that says for every turn from the beginning that Napoleon, or that the French do not take Quatre Bras, they lose a victory point from when and if they finally do take it. So we can come down here. Here's a study. Here's Quatre Bras. We see the duration. And I'll look at the turn chart. I'm also not using the cards, so I'll add that later too. Again, this is mainly to get down the basic rules here and understand them. So the cards are not in this. Let's look, countermix, setup. Here's the special rules, victory conditions, VP hexes count. I'm looking on the board, the only VP hex is Quatre Bras, and I'm no good at pronouncing French. That hex. And here's a special rule. The VP award for Quatre Bras is reduced each turn, depending on its turn of final capture. Example, 8 VPs if captured on the 3rd turn, and never recaptured. 4 VPs at the end. Okay. And then potentially if the combat strength lost, differential is 0. I guess the coalition gets 1 VP, so they don't lose all that. Of course, if the French kill more, cause more casualties, then I guess this drops off the board. And we're back to the normal VPs per 26.1. Let's see. 26.1. Well, that's in the beginning of the study. So bear with me as I get my way around here. I'm kind of OCD on rules, so I always like to check rules before I actually worry about it. And I'll try and pause the game when I'm doing that kind of research, but here we go. Victory points. Enemy combat strength points eliminated. Enemy corps demoralized. We'll see that can happen. Enemy baggage trains, controlled hexes. That's the victory point hexes. Total VPs, cards. We're not doing that. Leaders in town. Units exited the map. Yeah, just to give more intro on this, here's the Quatre Bras scenario. And looking at this, it looks like the coalition gets all the reinforcements this game. So it looks like the French are going to have to move fast here. And it looks like we get all the way to the first night turn down here. So this pretty much tells us what to expect going forward. We're on turn 1. The French are first. With that being said, there is a weather roll we're supposed to do. I'm just going to keep it. This is a really good Vassal mod here. Coming from somebody who makes Vassal mods a lot, this is really good. So these are the different weather that can occur. It's tailored to the scenario. I'm just going to keep it simple, keep the weather unchanged, just to make this straightforward. So what I need to do is just jump here in the sequence of play. And we do see the first thing is a weather segment. I'm just going to assume that for now. There are no cards. So the first phase we have to deal with is the command phase. All my units are in supply. We'll look at that later. There is no recovery. There's nothing to recover. And there's no reorganization. So at least on the first turn here, we don't have to worry about these things. Later on, we will, or probably not for this scenario. It doesn't go that long. So we move into the command segment, and this is to determine if units are in command or not. And there's helpful information on that. Yeah, here we go. Command ranges. That's pretty helpful up here. Leader type, 3 types of leaders. The commander. Commander combined officer, meaning he's assigned to a specific unit, and an officer. And right now we're doing this for the French. I'll zoom in. And we see here, because he's got the brackets, Ney is the commander. 10 is his movement, but 1 is how many subordinates he can put in command. Okay, and he's allowed to put 1 sub-commander and 1 other combat unit in command as long as they're within 4 hexes of him. And we can see here that this is here an example of an officer, I believe. And he is over the 2nd Corps. And if we look around, we see that we've got 2nd Corps units up here, 2nd Corps units here, and 2nd Corps units here. Now, I could have put these in road march, but I'm not going to do that because we're just close enough to the enemy. The cavalry doesn't need it. Basically, we got 2 units. We've got the 2nd Corps, and it looks like we've got Kellerman's 3rd Cavalry Corps. Okay. So Ney puts him in command, and then as long as his units are within 4 hexes of him, I'm sorry, officer 3 hexes, 3 units, and we see 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. Okay, so they're all in command. Now the problem is, if I'm reading the rules right, Kellerman is not automatically placed in command. He's way out of Ney's range. So what he's got is an initiative rating here, which he has to roll against to see if he's in command for the turn. Referring to the rules, when we talk about initiative, here they've got examples. And this is what Ney is, commander. And then it looks like Riley and Kellerman are both officers. And then we don't have any commander officers right now. So looking at Kellerman coming down here, a die roll equal to or less than the initiative rating puts him in command. Okay, officers have a command range of 3, movement allowance of 6. The problem we have, if I'm reading this right, is Kellerman, if he does succeed, will be able to place this horse artillery and it looks like heavy cavalry here, but this one is more than 3 away. But Ney is allowed to place 1 officer and 1 unit, so I would see this as Ney as being able to put him in command also. So if we look at the command segment rules here, we've kind of followed it. Each commander uses command rating, places command units within his range. And we see Ney has put, I believe it's Riley, in command, and Riley is within 3 of all of his units. And then we do see up here that he can put in command 1 officer plus 1 combat unit, 1, 2, 3, 4. So he will put this in command. So the only possibility with a problem here is Kellerman. His initiative rating is 4, so has to roll a 1, 2, 3, or 4 to be in command. Otherwise, he's out of command. I guess I'll roll for this. It would be kind of sad if he's out of command. So let's go ahead and roll 1. So here we go. And the roll is 5. Okay. Well, that's not good for the French. That means he's out of command. and he's going to be out of command, so I'm going to place those markers on them. Just we'll see their effects. So, looking for an out of command marker. I'll look for it later, but I did leverage the label, so we've got out of command effects here. Basically, if a unit is out of command, it can do an initiative check after the in-command units have moved. May not advance after combat. But the problem is an officer out of command because, let's see, if an officer checked for command, however you roll first for an officer's initiative, then any of his units that are in command may not roll for initiative. So all of these units are out of command. They're not going to be moving this turn. Maybe he broke up from breakfast early, still eating it, we'll see. So that's the end of the command phase. So it is having an effect on us. So if we come back up here to the sequence of play, we come down here, we're done with this command segment. Command points, pontoon bridges, out of command, etc. Come down here, the phase, and may move all of his forces that are in command. Reinforcements enter at this time. Units may attempt to force enemy units by repulse. So we are literally in the movement segment. And we're going to keep it simple here. Now let me zoom out a little. Pull up the terrain effects chart. I think I've got that over here. Here we go. Terrain effects chart, that's on combat, so I think the movement one, here we go, is down here. And to see what's in front of us, yeah, this is a victory point hex. Now, the problem we got is all these units have zones of control. Once you enter a zone of control, it's sticky and you can't leave it, barring something happening, combat, etc. And what's interesting here, if I'm reading this right, is he's also in a chateau hex. Costs 2 MP to go in there. It does have a good terrain effect, but only with infantry. So literally I'm looking at this guy, and he's a leader. He's alone. Leaders don't have a zone of control, if you read the rules. So if I look at these units, they've got a movement of 4. They could go 1, 2, and no zone of control. This is going down slope and slip in here. Hopefully I'm right. So actually, if this is a movement segment, that's exactly, here is no zone of control, and then slip here. Now this means this unit has to attack both these, but of course I've got this big stack here that potentially 1, 2, 3, 4. I can move up, but what I need to first decide to do is what to do with the cavalry. So doing a little research there. I do also have this guy down here. I was kind of worried about him, screening him off. But these units can at least try and get, and actually this cavalry unit can do it too. But looking at these two units, I think I can get him around behind here. These are slope hexes. Come over here. Slope hexes don't cost anything because we're not going to a hilltop hex, which is totally surrounded. So he could go 1, 2. Now the chateau looks like it's 2 MP up here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm going to count this as a clear hex. The woods haven't started. And then moving along, 6. And with that, he can bring both of them along. So let's do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I come down here and I look, I've got a 5-4, 2 artillery units. Yeah, we can look at stacking limits here. There's 3 types of stacking limits we can look at here briefly. And I'm still getting used to it. In theory, you only have 2 combat units. But if we're all from the same division, you can have 1 more. And these are all from the same, I believe it's division. I misspoke when I said corps. So, but then I have even one more, but that's if you have stacking with a leader, 5 combat units of which 2 may be infantry, or 3 if all from the same division. And again, if they stay with him, then they can all stack together. So 1, 2, 3, 4, for simplicity's sake, I'm going to move him along the road. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this looks like a solid attack here. The question is, where do I put Ney? Leaders, I don't think count towards stacking. Leaders and deployed pontoons do not count against stacking. So Ney probably is safest here also. I'll put him there. And then I've got these 2 units I can move. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I want to protect the flank of this guy, so I could potentially do it with this heavy cavalry, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He could start moving to outflank. I'm just going to be conservative though. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's the best I can do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And if necessary, Ney has got to think about command for the next turn. He'll be able to, Ney will be able to activate him. And then these just have to move up the road. And let's see, looking at the terrain effects chart, just checking my work here. I have no idea what the combat odds are, but we'll find that out later. Moving along the road, obviously it's 1 MP. Trail is 1, road is 1. I'm not going to do road march right now, so 1, yeah, they're all 4. 2, 3, 4. And again, out of command, too bad. And he failed, and these 2 were in range, so they can't roll for initiative, and that's what the number they have there. So that's a good number there, 4, 1, 2, 3, or 4. So what this sets us up for now is I'll check the rules to see what happens to leaders if they're adjacent to enemy units with no combat units, and then these will have to be attacked, and these will be attacked by these 2 units surrounded. So we'll see, and hopefully we've properly screened this unit, but I'm not going to be able to move fast enough for them to put units into Quatre Bras. So I'll review this video. Hopefully I did everything right. I'll turn off the mark moved here. And we'll call it at this point. 23 minutes, a little longer than I wanted to do. But like I said, I have a feeling I'll just take this slowly and try and skim the rules afterwards and make sure I'm doing it right. So thank you for watching the beginning of my journey into the Library of Napoleonic Library of Napoleonic Battles. So looking forward to this. Can't wait to do the rest of the battles, maybe the campaign, then move on to Russia, and then maybe after that move on to other games in the series. So next time we come back, we'll be looking at the combat phase. Thanks for listening.